Okay, Bruno. So I've got a typical technical interview question here for you. And I'm going to ask you the question, and then I want to know what it makes you think about and kind of like how you, if somebody asked you this question in an interview, how you'd break it down and figure out an answer. So the question is, explain the difference between layout, painting, and compositing.
Yeah, very interesting question and very hard question. First, why do we need to know about this? It's about performances, because those are the steps for a brother to render something. Like if you want to render your portfolio, your website, your e-shop, stuff like that, the brother will have to render, I don't know, the header, the sidebar, an image, stuff like that. And to render all of these, it will go through all of these steps. If you understand those steps, we'll be able to optimize those steps. So first, let's try to understand those. The first one you told me is the layout part. So the layout part, let's say this is our page. So this is our first page. We have the layout. So I put it just like that. The idea is that you have maybe a header. The header, we have something like a size like that. If your header is bigger, well, it will go over there. All right, but the rest of the page will depend on where your header is. Mm-hmm. If your header is this size, well, you will get the next, let's say, the next tags at this point and then at this point. All right, but if your header is bigger, well, it go, let's say, over there, you will have those things that will go over there. This is the layout part. It means that the brother will position stuff in the order, it's the flow, and we'll try to let them fit where they can. If it's a block, it will go there. If this one is an inline, it will go there. Then there is another inline, it will go there. Then this one has a width, I don't know, of 200 maybe, it will go there. And the next one doesn't have room, well, it will go there because there is no room left. Then we have, let's say, a section or a div or stuff like that. It's a block, then it will take all the available space. Oh wait, no, we put a 50% on the width, then it will be something like that. And you can have flexbox, margin, padding, stuff like that. All of those CSS properties will change the layout.
So is the layout like a step in the browser rendering process, or is it just a theoretical concept?
It's a step, but we can't see anything. Okay. It's like putting boxes. You just put theoretical boxes. One will be there, and because this one is there and the other one has to be this size, well, this one will be there, this one will be there, and it goes on like this until the end of your HTML code. But it's just theoretical, yeah. Then you have the next part, which is
painting.
Painting, exactly. You then have the painting part. Painting is about painting.
Like
and by that, I mean, it's about like adding colors, adding pixels to all of these. So before we had like theoretical let's say elements. Now we will start to add color to these. Like if there is, I don't know, my header has a background red, then the background will be red. So we will color it like that. We add red there. Maybe there is, I don't know, this part here. It will be, let's draw just some of them. I won't put them all, but we have some of them here. Sure, I can just do it like really fast. Here. And in this step, the brother will start to colorize everything. So we have like background color, but we can also have, I don't know, like maybe box shadow. It can also be like about typo, you know, the fonts, color, stuff like that, but it will just add colors. And you start to see something. You start to see something on your page. It will do like that. Let's add one last one, I don't know, maybe in orange. Those two are orange. To make it simple, let's just think of it like background colors. So first step, we position things according to each other. Painting step, which is the next step, we add color. We start to colorize every visible pixels, and it's probably a lot of pixels. You have a lot of pixels on your page. It depends on your screen, your resolution, the size of the window, but it can be quite long. And then the next part, and we will understand a little more about those and what's happening between those right after, it's
compositing.
Exactly. Compositing.
I'm learning here too. Okay.
Compositing, like this. Compositing is about only opacity and transform. Those are two kind of special CSS properties. why are they special? Let's say we did the painting, so we have everything. Let's try to do it quite fast, like this. We have those four here. Those are in lines. Some are green, some are purple, some are orange. We get something like this. Let's imagine that we have color. So I would just add some in order to understand, like this, like this, like this, like this. And this one, and this one. And the last one, let's say it's a button. It's a button, and when we hover that button, it gets bigger. I don't know, it's like the buy button. We need it to do something when we hover it. So if I put my my cursor right here, it will get bigger. To make something looks bigger, we have different solutions, but one of those solutions is using CSS transform. So it can be with an animation or not. Let's imagine it's with an animation. So it's a little more like performances sensitive. So you just hover it and it gets bigger. So it gets more something like that.
Okay.
To do that, in CSS, you will do transform scale. All right? So you do transform, maybe scale X, scale Y. You can do both at the same time. The scale is a transformation, and this part will be only happening in the compositing part. Why? Well, because it will be handled by the GPU. If you remember from the video about WebGL, we said that the GPU is a component inside your computer that will do like positioning triangles to be able to draw WebGL stuff. But you can also use it to do like calculation. Actually, it's WebGL happening here. When you do that, it's the GPU that will take your button. So this is the button. What color can I use? I don't have color left. Let's say it's this button here. It will be sent to the GPU, and the GPU will like transform it so that it looks bigger like this. All right, and it will do it like really, really fast because the GPU can do a lot of calculations at once. So it will take this pixel here, and it will, I will try with another color, we will take this one here and say, all right, with this transformation, this pixel will end up here. This one over there at the bottom right corner will end up here. And it will do almost all the pixels at once in one calculation because it's what the GPU is good for.
And one of the interesting things about a transform is that your font can scale smoothly.
Yeah, it actually depends on the texture. Like the texture will have to be redrawn again. Okay. So actually, it's not that great to have fonts being scaled. It really depends on the browser, and we have some changes through time on how they handle this. Like if you take only these texture, sorry. So now it's a texture. It was a button. Now it's a texture being sent to the GPU. If you try to like stretch it, it will be kind of blurry. And at first, what the brother were doing, it was just blurry, and that's all. You have to deal with it. And at the end, if you have like an animation, at the end, hop, it will redraw it again and redraw the fonts, stuff like that, to make it looks better.
I've seen that before.
Yeah, it looks like a bug, but it's actually because if you have to redraw your button on each frame, it will be like very bad for performances.
Okay, so compositing happens in the GPU.
Yeah.
And you mentioned doing it on a hover, but what if I have just transform scale applied, not on a pseudo element, but just on the page load? Will that still happen in the compositing step?
Yes, that will happen, but only once.
Okay.
So it might be better. Maybe you should have just changed the width and the height. Maybe, why not? It depends on what you want to do. But if you want to do other transformation, because we can do a lot more than just scale, like we can do 3D transformation, you know, like something is rotating. You can't do like a rotation without transformation, a 3D rotation without a transformation. So you will use transformation, and as you said, it will be handled by the GPU, and it will be much better for performances. And I can talk a little more. The idea is that layout step is quite long, but it's okay. Painting is very long because it's the CPU doing most of the work. Like painting this part, it's the CPU. The CPU is very fast. It can do like a lot of calculations in 1 second. It will do millions of calculations. So it's okay. Maybe it's what's happening when you open a page. You have to wait like maybe half a second. It's just like froze. It's frozen for half a second, and then you can see the page. This is probably because of the layout part, and then the painting part happening, and then the composing compositing part because we had to create those textures so that we can send them to the GPU. So it's kind of bad, but if it's only at the beginning of the when you just try to access a page, it's okay. Like people are used to, let's try to reduce it as much as possible. Like, I don't know, if it's like a fifth of a second, it's okay. If it's like 2 seconds where you can't use your computer, it's bad.
And so what you're describing right now, when I run and like when I check the page the performance of my pages, there's a metric called first contentful paint. Is that connected here?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I don't know where exactly is the first, you know, you have the meaningful content, the first paint, stuff like that. I don't remember exactly the steps you might get if you use like those monitoring tool, but maybe it's over there, maybe it's over there, maybe it's only at the end where everything is loaded. But yeah, that's the idea. If it takes like more than 1 second, it's bad. And if it takes something like, I don't know, maybe a fifth of a second, it's okay. And the idea is that once your page is visible, you don't want to have those freeze. You don't want the page to be frozen for half a second when you just hover this button. So you will use compositing technique in order to be able to have better performances, so that the GPU will do it very fast, because it will not have to repaint every visible pixel. It will just do a transformation on that element, which become a texture. So that's the idea. To make it more simple, if you want to animate stuff, to transform stuff, try to use only transformations and opacity, because we just talk about scaling, stuff like that, maybe a 3D rotation, but opacity is exactly the same. It will be done on the GPU side. It will be done in this step. So if you want to animate things, if you want to do like, I don't know, like you have a huge image that's getting bigger when you hover it, try to do it using transform. Oh yeah, by the way, if you trigger one layout step, let's say when you hover it, you change the width. Mm-hmm. Let's say it's on this one, on this element there. If you change, let's say I hover it, I change its width. Changing the width of this one might prevent this one from being able to stay here, so it will end up here. And because it's here, the other one will go there, there, there. And as you can see, everything is being transformed. There is like a flow of content that needs to be transformed after this one, so it's very bad. And when you change the layout of an element, this element will have to be repaint. Ooh. Yeah, so if you change just the width of this one, because, I don't know, the user hovered this one, everything will be moved. The layout will happen on every next element in our case. And then all those elements, so this one will have to be redrawn, repaint, exactly, repaint. And then the compositing will happen too on these elements. So it's very bad. If you want to do, like, I don't know, make this one bigger, just use, I don't know, transform scale. It will get bigger and nothing else will change. And this element getting bigger will only happen on this step, and it's very good for performances.
Okay, wow. Well, Bruno, you got the job.
Great.